Mewtwo is a fictional creature from Nintendo and Game Freak's Poké Copyright Mon Media franchise. Created by Ken Sugimori, it first appeared in the video games Poké Copyright Mon Red and Blue and their sequels, and later appeared in various merchandise, spin-off titles, as well as animation adaptations of the franchise. Masakika Ikamura voiced the franchise's original Mewtwo character in Japanese, and the creature's younger self is voiced by Fujiko Takemoto in the sound picture box, Mewtwo's origin CD drama, and Shotaro Morikubo in the anime adaptation. In English, Jay Goad voiced Mewtwo and Mewtwo Strikes Back in the Poké Copyright Mon Live musical. For the former production, he was credited under the pseudonym Philippe Bartlett. Dan Green provided the voice in Mewtwo Returns. Actress Reiko Takashima voices a separate Mewtwo character in the prequel special Mewtwo, Prologue to Awakening, in the film Extreme Speed Genesect, Mewtwo Awakens. In the video games, the player can fight and capture Mewtwo to pit it against other Poké Copyright Mon. The player first learns of Mewtwo late in Poké Copyright Mon Red and Blue by reading research documents left in a ruined laboratory on Cinnabar Island. The documents reveal that a solitary scientist spent years genetically engineering a descendant of the Poké Copyright Mon Mew. Mewtwo eventually escaped after proving too strong to contain. Regarded as one of the series' strongest Poké Copyright Mon, it changed the way players approach the games by forcing them to find ways to counteract those using Mewtwo. Studies found the character popular with older male children, which contrasted with its counterpart Mew. Reactions to the creature's first anime portrayal have been divided, as reviewers such as Daily Records cited it as a cliché copyright villain, while others such as In America and Sight and Sound praised the character's depth. Design and characteristics. Japanese video game designer Ken Sugimori designed Mewtwo for the first generation of Pocket Monsters games, Red and Green, known outside of Japan as Poké Copyright Mon Red and Blue. Its name, which means the second of Mew, derives from its existence as a genetically duplicate of the original Mew. Until the first Poké Copyright Mon movie was released in the United States, Mewtwo was rarely referred to as a clone in Japanese sources. Kiba Masakazu, executive producer of Mewtwo Strikes Back, explained that they intentionally avoid using the term clone because the word has a frightening feel. Despite being Mew's descendant, Mewtwo directly precedes Mew in the game's numerical Poké Copyright Mon index, owing to the latter's secret inclusion by Game Freak programmer Shigeki Morimoto. During an interview, Poké Copyright Mon Company president Tsunekazu Ishihara stated that Mewtwo was expected to be popular with North American audiences, citing their preference for strong, powerful characters. Its build is very different compared to Mew's, appearing as a large bipedal feline, with a white body, pronounced purple tail and stomach, feline head, and a mass of flesh connecting the center of its back to its head behind its neck. Its appearance has been likened to an oversized cross of cat, squirrel and kangaroo. In the original games, Mewtwo is intended to be the strongest Poké Copyright Mon ever. It is psychic, uses telekinesis for flight and telepathy to speak. When fighting, it uses its abilities to shield itself or throw opponents to compensate for its lack of speed. Otherwise, it conserves its energy until needed. It can regenerate as well, and is able to quickly recover from near-fatal injuries. Mewtwo stands 6 feet 7 inches tall. As a character in the games, Mewtwo seldom has spoken dialogue, but when it does it is presented as vicious and primarily interested in proving its own strength. The franchise's non-video game media, particularly the anime, has expanded upon the character, giving Mewtwo a male voice and, while aware of why it was created, actively questioning its own existence. Appearances. In video games. In Poké Copyright Mon Red and Blue, The player learns of Mewtwo's existence by reading research notes left in the ruined Poké Copyright Mon mansion on Cinnabar Island. The notes describe it as being born from Mew following the efforts of a solitary scientist. Mewtwo proved too mighty to control, destroying the laboratory and escaping. The player is later given an opportunity to capture Mewtwo in the Cerulean Cave, which is accessible only after defeating the game's final bosses, the Elite Four and Blue. In the remake titles Poké Copyright Mon Fire and Leaf Green, this prerequisite was expanded, requiring the player to explore more thoroughly and record information on 60 Poké Copyright Mon species before access to the cave would be granted. Mewtwo is catchable in Poké Copyright Mon Heart Gold and Soul Silver in the same location as before after defeating all of the gym leaders in Kanto. The character was the focus of a promotion and downloadable content giveaway for Poké Copyright Mon Black and White. Mewtwo appears in Poké Copyright Mon X and Y after completing the main story and is one of several Poké Copyright Mon that is able to use the new Mega Evolution mechanic, becoming either Mega Mewtwo or Mega Mewtwo since its debut. Mewtwo has appeared in other Nintendo games. In Poké Copyright Mon Stadium and Poké Copyright Mon Pinball, Mewtwo appears as a final boss after all competitions have been completed. In Poké Copyright Mon Puzzle League, Mewtwo serves not only as the final opponent, but also as the main antagonist responsible for the game's events. Other games, such as Super Smash Bros. Melee and the Poké Copyright Mon Mystery Dungeon series have featured Mewtwo as an unlockable player character that must be defeated before it may be used, while games such as Poké Copyright Mon Snap have featured the character and cameos, appearing once certain conditions have been met. For all appearances in which the character has spoken dialogue, Mewtwo is voiced by Masakaka Ikamura, with the exception of Poké Copyright Mon Puzzle League, where it is voiced by Philip Bartlett. After failing to make a playable appearance in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Mewtwo became available as a DLC character in Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS and Wii U on April 28, 2015. Though it was made available to Club Nintendo members who registered both versions on April 15, 2015. In 3DS Wii U, its final smash involves becoming Mega Mewtwo and using FC Strike. An anime and related media Mewtwo is featured in the 1998 animated film Poké Copyright Mon, the first movie as the main antagonist, in which it is shown to be the creation of the criminal organization Team Rocket. After Mewtwo destroys the laboratory where it was born, Team Rocket's leader, Giovanni, convinces it he can help it control its powers. He instead uses Mewtwo as a weapon. After escaping Giovanni, Mewtwo questions its reason for existence and declares revenge on its creators. To this end, it lures several Poké Copyright Mon trainers, among them movie protagonist Ash Ketchum, to its island in order to clone their Poké Copyright Mon. Once it does so, Mewtwo forces the originals to battle the clones in an effort to determine which set is superior, while Mewtwo faces its own original, Mew. Ash sacrifices himself to stop the fighting, though he is later revived. Mewtwo, Mew, and the clones then leave to find a sanctuary, striking memory of the events from those gathered. In localizing the film for English-language audiences, Mewtwo's personality became more arrogant and megalomaniacal. Localization director Norman Grossfield ruled the changes necessary, as he believed American audiences needed a clearly evil rather than ambiguous villain. In the film, Mewtwo is voiced by Philip Bartlett in English, and by Ikamura in Japanese. In this film, Mewtwo displayed unique abilities and powers unseen in other Poké Copyright Mon, such as blocking all Poké Copyright Mon moves in his arena when the clones face off against the originals. In September 1999, Nintendo published Sound Picture Box Mewtwo, which included the birth of Mewtwo, Poké Copyright Mon radio drama, a CD drama that expands upon Mewtwo's origins. Created by scientist Dr. Fuji, Mewtwo is one of several cloning attempts, which also include a clone of Fuji's deceased daughter. The young Mewtwo befriends her, communicating telepathically. However, the cloning process proves unstable, and she dies. To save the traumatized Mewtwo, Fuji erases its memories and puts it under sedation until its body finishes developing, leading to the events of the film. The CD drama was later adapted into a short anime, and was included with Japanese home releases and broadcasts of Mewtwo Strikes Back and later in North America in December 2001 as part of Mewtwo Returns. Mewtwo as a child is voiced in Japanese by Fujiko Takemoto for the CD drama and Shotaro Morikubo for the anime, while in the English localization the voice actor is uncredited. In December 2000, a film was followed by a sequel, Poké Copyright Mon, Mewtwo Returns, which was broadcast on Japanese television in December 2000 and released worldwide on home video and DVD in 2001. Voiced by Dan Green in English with Ikamura reprising the role in Japanese, Mewtwo and the clones have since found peace in another region. However, Giovanni, whose memories were left intact after the first film, locates and pursues Mewtwo. Assisted by Ash and his companions, Mewtwo comes to terms with its existence and defeats Giovanni, removing any memory of itself from his and his soldiers' minds, while leaving the others unaffected. As everyone departs, Mewtwo sets out on its own. Mewtwo also appears in the musical Poké Copyright Mon Live, a live-action adaptation of the anime set after Poké Copyright Mon, the first movie, and is portrayed by Martin Fulop. In it, Mewtwo faces a robotic replica of itself, Mecha Mewtwo, created by Giovanni and able to learn any attacks used against it. However, after learning compassion from Mewtwo, the machine rebels and self-destructs. The 2006 television special Poké Copyright Mon, The Mastermind of Mirage Poké Copyright Mon features a hologram version of Mewtwo, created and controlled by the story's antagonist Dr. Young. With help from a hologram Mew, Ash and his companions destroy the Mewtwo hologram and defeat Young. Another Mewtwo appears in the anime special Mewtwo, Prologue to Awakening and the film Genesect and the Legend Awakened, voiced by the actress Reiko Takashima, to protect Ash, Iris, Sullen, and Eric from the rampaging Genesect army. This Mewtwo is able to Mega Evolve into Mega Mewtwo, referred to in the film as Mewtwo's awakened form. Mewtwo appears in the anime miniseries Poké Copyright Mon Origins, which is generally based on the plot of the video games Poké Copyright Mon Fire and Leaf Green. As such, Red goes to Cerulean Cave, and uses the Mega Evolution mechanic introduced in Poké Copyright Mon X and Y to Mega Evolve his Charizard for the fight with Mewtwo, whom Red captures. In printed adaptations Mewtwo has appeared as a central character in several books related to the Poké Copyright Mon franchise, including novelizations of Mewtwo Strikes Back and Mewtwo Returns, both of which closely follow the events of the films. In December 1999, Viz Media published the children's picture book I'm Not Pikachu, Poké Copyright Mon Tales Movie Special, which featured children taking on traits of the characters from the film, including Mewtwo. In May 2001, Viz released a second children's book, Mewtwo's Watching You, which featured a shy Mewtwo interestedly watching other Poké Copyright Mon play. In the manga series Poké Copyright Mon Adventures, Team Rocket creates Mewtwo, but some of his DNA is placed inside of the gym leader Blaine. Because of the DNA that they share, the two are unable to be separated for very long without becoming ill. Later, another Poké copyright Mon, Entei is able to break the bond between the two by removing the DNA in Blaine's arm, at which point Mewtwo leaves. It eventually helps the main character of the series, Red, fight against Team Rocket leader Giovanni and his Deoxys. In 1998, Toshiro Ono was asked to write a story detailing Mewtwo's origin to coincide with the release of Mewtwo Strikes Back. The 52-page comic, presented in the form of a flashback, was replaced midway by the Birth of Mewtwo animated short, resulting in little connection between Ono's work and the film. Regardless, it saw print as a side story for Poké copyright Mon, The Electric Tale of Pikachu in the July 1998 issue of CoroCoro comic. In it, Mewtwo's creator Dr. Fuji takes on the role of a coach for the fully developed Poké copyright Mon, while his employer, Team Rocket, tests its abilities. Learning of a plan to mass-produce it as a weapon, Fuji approaches Mewtwo and tells it to destroy the lab and Fuji himself. Mewtwo refuses, stating it cannot harm the Doctor, who it regards as its father. Once captured by Team Rocket, Fuji tells Mewtwo that he is honored by the statement, and is then killed. Angered by his death, Mewtwo destroys the lab and escapes. In the present, Mewtwo cries in its sleep as it dreams of the events. Reception and legacy. In the games, Mewtwo is consistently noted as being one of the strongest opponents, and has been described in Poké copyright Mon Red and Blue as being the best Poké copyright Mon in the game, as well as one of the rarest and hardest to catch. Because of the character's multiple strengths and few weaknesses, it changed how players approached playing against each other, causing players to either develop strategies solely to defeat an opposing Mewtwo, or prohibit its use when battling other players. IGN staff bemoaned its exclusion from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. A poll by IGN on whether the character was missed by others in Brawl shared a similar sentiment, though they also described it as one of Super Smash Bros. Melo's weakest characters. Professional Super Smash Bros. Player Jason Mewtwo King Zimmerman takes his handle from Mewtwo, although he uses other characters in competition. Authors Tracy West and Catherine Knoll called Mewtwo the 5th best legendary Poké copyright Mon and the 6th best Poké copyright Mon overall. The book Pikachu's Global Adventure, The Rise and Fall of Poké copyright Mon noted Mewtwo as popular with older male children who tend to be drawn to tough or scary characters. Mew in contrast was described as a polar opposite, a character popular with young girls who tend to be drawn to cute characters. Others' books, such as Media and the Make-Believe Worlds of Children, have noted a similar comparison, citing Mewtwo as more aggressive-looking compared to Mew and emphasizing the importance of the contrast for children. The book Gaming Cultures and Place in Asia-Pacific compares Tsujimura's design of Mewtwo to that of Japanese tokusatsu films, namely monster films like the 1954 Godzilla, in creating monstrous yet familiar silhouettes from the past renewed agency in the form of eyes and expressions which cut through the viewer. In reception to extended media for the Poké copyright Mon franchise, Mewtwo has been likened to Frankenstein's monster as a being born from artificial means and discontent with the fact. Theology Secretary for the Church of England Anne Richards described Mewtwo as representing a parable about the pointlessness of force, and praised the character for displaying the Christian value of redemption. Other reactions have been mixed. While it has been cited as a complex and compelling villain by some critics, its goal of world domination was received as a trait shared by every anime villain and likened to a James Bond villain by Daily Record. However, America praised Mewtwo as a character with philosophical depth as well as for serving as an adversary of almost infinite power and genuine malice that the anime series had been lacking. Ken Hollings of Sight and Sound described Mewtwo as brooding, articulate and vengeful, where the other Poké copyright Mon remain bright blobs of wordless energy, and like a troubled elder brother, Mewtwo represents an older order of experience. Anime Classics Satai. 100 Must-See Japanese Animation Masterpieces praised the character as the best villain of the Poké Copyright Mon film series, and one of Mewtwo Strikes Back Shoujo's strongest elements. The Los Angeles Times cited its behavior as a point of humor in relation to its appearance as a decidedly feline character. Mewtwo's image is utilized for merchandise related to the Poké Copyright Mon franchise, which includes toys, children's toothbrushes, and a playing piece for a Poké Copyright Mon-themed version of Monopoly. Several action figures have been made, such as a posable figure by Hasbro in 2006 that included accessories to recreate its Hyper Beam and light screen attacks, and a 6-inch tall talking figurine by Jakks Pacific as part of a series to commemorate the anime's Battle Frontier story arc. Items marketed for adults featuring Mewtwo have also been sold and distributed by Nintendo, such as T-shirts. The island nation of Niue released a $1 coin featuring the character as part of a commemorative promotion for the Poké Copyright Mon franchise, with Mewtwo on one side and the nation's coat of arms on the other. Mewtwo also appears on the port side of All Nippon Airways' Pocket Monsters Boeing 747 jumbo jet, alongside Mew. Notes and references. External links. Mewtwo's entry at Bulbapedia, Mewtwo Museum, a gallery of merchandise related to the character. Mewtwo at the Internet Movie Database.